Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Counselor's Office. I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor, and we are here to talk about more Destiny stuff. That's right, we're checking out an article by Paul Tassi about the weapons in Episode 2 Revenants. The title, The Plan for More Destiny 2 Shiny Weapons and Also Armor. I think this is a very interesting topic because I think the weapons currently in the rotation, people are happy with. I don't think people are excited for nearly as much. So let's jump in and see what's going on, what it's all about. So we're talking about the plan for Destiny 2 Shiny Armor and Also Armor. I've been talking recently about the lack of compelling loot pursuit in Destiny 2 and many of its activities. One point of reference I make is how things felt really good for the first time in a long time, the way the original Onslaught set things up. Not just in terms of focusing and the amount of loot you got, but namely a fun chase that is now mostly missing from the game. Despite how well it worked, I'm talking about the concept of Shinies. Now, I don't want to touch on what he's saying because I think this is a sentiment that is kind of echoed throughout the community. I think if you're talking about OG Onslaught to Salvation's Edge Onslaught, I think just the loot system in general was better in OG Onslaught because you remember they really cranked up the drop rates in between rounds. They also gave you tokens so you can really kind of crack open and focus the specific weapon you want. Whereas in Onslaught, you have tonics and they just don't seem to work. I think that's the biggest complaint compared to attunements in OG Onslaught. It just seems like it doesn't exist. The tonics just don't seem like they work. And I think a lot of people who are upset that crafting is not in the game, well, not in the game, but not in this episode, are really upset because they've tried the tonic system and it just doesn't, it's not a good replacement. And I think that's a fair assessment. I think it's fair. Like, if we're going to remove crafting, then I think if we're like for OG Onslaught purposes, we should capture that because I think it was a lot better than Salvation, in my opinion. Because you're already going to cut off a certain amount of the population who doesn't like Onslaught, though I think Onslaught is really good. I enjoy it. It's not something I'm going to do all the time because it does take a lot of time and it's not as rewarding as I think it should be, in my honest opinion. I don't think it's as rewarding. I also want to point out, he's not mentioning it, but Prison of Elders version 2 contest has come out and I actively don't care. It's fun. But the two, they added like 3 guns, a splicer weapon and 2 new weapons, and I just don't care. I just don't care. And I think that's the big problem. You're introducing these cool activities and the loot is mid. But we'll get into that in a minute. I'm not just in terms of focusing on my loot, but namely a fun chase. That is now mostly missing from the game. Despite how well it worked, I'm talking about the concept of shinies. Shiny weapons in the OG Onslaught were pretty straightforward. They were rare drops of specific weapons that were masterworked, had double perks, neat little overlays in its thumbnail, and a unique and cool shader effect different from normal ones. These were rare, especially landing the role you wanted, but the point was that it was not something you had to go for, as there were close to no instances where those double perks did something that normal roles couldn't. That's not true. Oh, Ollie boy. Oh, little Poliwag, you're wrong. It's been patched, but at the time, there was a reason to farm, and people farming the tits off. Had guns like Edge Transit that rolled Envious Assassin, and then Cascade with bait and switch. You could overflow your mag, hot swap the Cascade point, and then blow your load. That was the premium god roll that no other weapon could do. It has been patched, but way before that, we're talking about the timeline of like the events. It was a necessity. Not anymore, but it was, and you can't even get them anymore. So at the time that people were farming for it, it was in discussion about whether at the end of it, whether they're going to fix it. And then they came out and said, Final Shape, yeah, we're fixing it. At least for the raid. Now, Bungie has half-heartedly attempted to do this again with Remnant seasonal weapons. So this time, Shinies have double perks and Masterwork. They're not Shinies, they're just Masterwork double perks. They're adept weapons without being adept. But being so insanely rare that I've seen exactly 2 all season despite dozens of hours of play. And there's no cosmetic effect to them at all. So my pitch, double perks, obviously, cosmetic thumbnail and shader effect. Drop rates consistent with OG Onslaught. 1 guaranteed drop for something like finishing a Wave 50 Onslaught. Drops, not just fully masterwork, but fully enhanced. Saves you 2 Ascend Alloy, and depending on the role, you probably would not have spent that anyway. Just another nice bonus and doesn't break anything. That's my idea for weapons. But I say do it for more armor too. Not in exactly the same way, but similar. The idea should be minimum stats above 62, fully masterworked with no Ascendant shard spend. You could even do this for exotics and drop the newly added stat slot open, so there's no reason to spend an annoying to get exotic safer. And again, this may not even be a stat roll you want. Some sort of additional cosmetic change besides just a thumbnail, maybe not a shader effect, as that may be too hard to match with other armor, but some sort of like extra bit or bob or emblem on the armor that distinguish it at least a tiny bit from normal drops. No, I don't think it should be artifice armor, as that should be safe for higher level activities elsewhere, not with the seasonal stuff. Nor do I think it should have 11 out of 10 slots or something. You don't want to give this an actual advantage given how rare it is. It needs to be fun, cosmetic, or material saving bonus. The main goal here is to make armor drops even a little bit less awful and boring. I say do this for world armor as well, as those are essentially blues now. That's very true. The point here is that this almost exclusivity, just a few cosmetic changes with bonus non-farming breaking perks, and even and when we go back to the seasonal craft weapons, I see no reason these couldn't still drop as alternative to a fully crafted weapon, even if you don't like the roll as much. That's my pitch. Maybe this could be all invalidated for frontier gear changes. I think much of it could still carry over. All right, let's break this down. There's a lot. Sorry, I'm still like recovering from all the sicky icky stuff. So let's just go kind of break down what he's talking about. He's throwing the pitch. All this is like the basic Onslaught, and I think that's fine. I think this is where a lot of people are going to throw hissy fits, is the guaranteed drop. And I'm going to be honest, I don't. Again, when we're looking at like chase, none of these weapons outside maybe the GLs, they're like, wow, this is, worth getting. It's all preference. And there's some neat tech in the weapons. And I'm going to admit, I had hindsight on, I think I hated just most of episode 1 Echoes so much that I let that anger and frustration and annoyance blind me, because there was some decent weapons, more so than what I gave credit to. So I will admit that's the flaw. There is nothing in this selection of 10 weapons that really pops out, except for maybe like the Stasis double GL because of Chill Clip. But that's about to be replaced by the side rocket with Chill Clip. I'm sorry. We went from having a glaive that's kind of badass that has Chill Clip to now we're about to have a side rocket with it, and it just immediately going to discount any crap that I give about any of the episode weapons, which is bad. They took away the crafting because they really want you to chase and spend more time chasing these weapons. But when you actively make 10 weapons that are boring and bringing back reprised weapons that just, like, I'm glad we have splicer weapons again, but they are so bad, so mediocre, that it's almost as if they shouldn't have just never came back in the first place. Like, how can I be excited when all the weapons are just mid? Like, again, I don't expect everything to be 10 out of 11 bangers, because that's power creep and it's just not feasible. But I want them to get crazy. Can we just, while we're talking about loot, let's just get crazy. What if we just got something that broke we're thinking about perks, but what about stats? Right? That's one thing that Bungie is just afraid to do. They keep stats within a marginal size within each archetype. Why do they break that mold? Screw it. What if we get SMG that has like just the fastest, like a 600 RPM with like the fastest reload speed we've ever seen? Like this thing's like you're blowing your load, quick reload. Like imagine the jolting feedback SMG, and it just instant reloads. Like you just blow, you're just adding jolt to everything, and it's just like insta. Now, is it gonna make it like overly meta? Probably not. Is it gonna make me a little bit more enticed to use it? Probably. I'm just saying, like, what if we got a, I'm trying to think of what weapon I would maybe entertain. A pulse rifle with like max handling or stability. I know PvP was just cringing, but let's be honest. Bungie doesn't pay attention to PvP anyway. So let's say screw it anyways. I'm sorry, PvP. But like we have just a laser beam pulse rifle. I don't know. I'm just spitballing ideas. Like there are things that they can do to entice players to care about guns without having to make game-breaking perks or do crazy combinations we've never had before. Like, just be bold. Just be bold. Do something. Like, what if we got a chain reaction? Chain reaction dragonfly assault rifle or something. Something stupid. Just something so freaking stupid. Why not? Do something crazy. We have a Desperado shotgun, which sucks ass, but like, what about like a Desperado SMG? Like, I'm waiting on that, baby. I know that's pretty much what Onslaught is, but like, I don't know. I think a guaranteed drop. I think that's with how much time you have to spend. I think that's fine. And I think having enhanced drops, I think that's a great. I think that's great. If it's gonna be rare, you might as well make it really valuable. Armor, I think armor right now is a moot point in my brutally honest opinion. Armor is just a moot point because Frontiers is gonna throw everything we know out the window. So, like, it is outside being a new player. There's no reason as a veteran to give a crap about armor right now. There's no reason for me to try to farm for anything. Artifice armor, none of it matters right now because I'm feeling like it's gonna be, they're gonna try to force you to move on to the new stuff. So in my mindset, I'm just not gonna waste my time knowing that in the future everything I do now is gonna be invalidated. So I'm not gonna waste my time with armor. And just cosmetic changes, I think they're not gonna do that. They're not gonna do fancy cosmetics because they're putting it all in the store. So let's just get that out of our window. I gave up on Bungie making good armor for free. Outside of like Iron Banner, that's your cosmetic, is the Iron Banner armor. That's the nicest armor we're probably gonna get for all year. Outside of that, like, he's right. Like, I feel like the weapons in themselves are mid, but just how they've treated drop rates and tonic drop, it's just not a good time. It's just not. And I think as a veteran, like, even if I wasn't interested, you're also killing the vibe and chase for casuals. Like, they're already upset that they can't craft these weapons, but it's bad enough that the weapons aren't that impressive. It's just not. So, yeah. By the way, if you're noticing the mic being desynced, I had to do a new set because one of my things have broken and I'm trying to fix my setup. So thank you for watching this short video. I did want to cover this topic with y'all. Let me know what you think. I think it has been a topic in the community, not just Onslaught, but even Prison of Elders and just the weapons in general. Nothing is exciting. Most people are more excited for the dungeon loot, and most people have already gotten it. Personally, I'm more excited for Iron Boner, and that's where I'll be. I thank you guys. Hit the like button, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel for more. As always, I'll see you. The link will be down below, by the way. You can check the article out for yourself. But until next time, game out. Huzzah.